Satnam. I'm Lillian Savoy, and this is Awaken Change podcast. And I'm excited every time I get an exciting guest on here, Nathalie Craw. And
Thank you.
she's been a good friend of mine in the yoga world, Reiki world, energy healing world for I don't even know how many years now. I want to say maybe 7 or 8.
A long time.
A
Yeah, a
long
long
time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which is great.
she has so much knowledge that I just want to kind of pick her brain as if you had never met her. And what is she going to bring into our lives today that is really going to inspire us to be better people? No
Awesome.
pressure.
I like that. I know. I like that.
No pressure. Okay. So,
Okay, good.
all right. All right. So, first things first, I know you teach yoga all over the world, and I know you
Mhm,
teach it especially in the islands. And as we are
mhm.
recording, there's a big hurricane in Jamaica.
Yeah, I
So,
saw that. I thought, yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
been
I
in my
thought of
mind.
you.
Yeah, for some, it's weird. It's interesting that I don't teach in Jamaica, but do feel connected to that island, and I have been there. And yes, I've taught a lot in the Virgin Islands, and have online students from the islands too. But Jamaica, I've been to Jamaica, and I feel very connected. And for some reason, since I started hearing about this, what you're talking about, I've been like, it's been on, like I've been praying, sending energy to them. Like it's been on my mind, you know? I'm like, wow, the islands. Yeah, it's
I definitely
concerning.
think you had a past life in Jamaica.
Yeah,
I feel like your
I could
spirit for
see
some,
that.
yeah, don't you? I mean,
Hmm.
I know you're French. I'm
Yeah,
French.
but
You have a way cooler accent than I do, but
my mom is Brazilian, my dad is French, and so I kind of grew up in both. Spent a lot of time in France growing up, mostly, but I have both backgrounds, you know. But yes, but the island, in one of the islands, well, the one I was in, Saint Croix. Well, actually, it's the last name, Saint Croix. Yeah,
yeah.
right. Well, they say Saint Croix, but it's Saint Croix. So that one they speak English, but it was which is it, like Saint, yeah, Saint
St. Bart.
John's, I believe, and Saint Bart, they speak French. So it's
I've only
interesting.
been to St.
Yeah.
John's. I haven't been to St. Bart's, and I want to go because my brother said it's absolutely amazing.
Yes, I heard that too.
So
Yeah.
you have taught yoga though. The island, when you take the ferry from St. Thomas to St. John, the island off to the left, I'm blanking the name of it.
Saint Croix. Is it
Is it?
Saint Croix? I
Okay.
think so.
Don't
I
you
mean,
teach there?
yes, yes,
Okay, so tell
yes.
us about like the most recent retreat you did there because I think it would be so cool for
So
us to go follow you and go on your retreat there.
yeah, well, I don't have anything planned right now, but I work with a studio. They're called Island Movement. They are amazing. And I've done a handful of teacher trainings with them in collaboration with the studio. The owner of the studio, Marisa, she used to be a student at my yoga studio in New Orleans that I had for 9 years, Shanti Yoga Shala. And she's also a physical therapist. So she's somebody who has a lot of knowledge. And she created this beautiful space the design of her studio, it's one of the most beautiful studios I've ever seen, and she also cultivates a really beautiful community. So it's been an honor to come there with Shanti Yoga Training School and teach the 200-hour yoga teacher trainings, and we've done some 300-hour yoga teacher trainings as well. And I'm still working with some of the students online, because I go in person. It's kind of like a hybrid, a lot of the stuff I do. So yeah, so that's it. But yeah, we have talked about a retreat, and a retreat there would be amazing. The last retreat I did was a human design retreat, but it was in
Ooh.
Mississippi, and it was driving distance because I don't know where people are listening, but I live in Covington, Louisiana, which is close to New Orleans.
Mhm.
And Mississippi was like about 3 hours, but it was this beautiful property. It was my second time there. It was a silent retreat with yoga. Also it was a human design street retreat. And then we had yoga in the morning. And we also had another offering that's called a living funeral. That's really intense. And I trained with a doula, for a death doula for it. And it was But anyways, this house was pure magic, and I would love to go back there. Yeah, that's all.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
these are
Well, we
really
have to
cool.
dive into those two things. So, give
Yeah.
us a quick outline of human design because
Hmm.
a lot of people don't
Yeah.
know, and frankly, I only know a little bit of surface about it. So, tell us
Hmm.
why we want a human design retreat or a reading or whatever you offer.
Yeah, so I'll start with like a little bit of my journey into human design and why I do it, because even though it's seen as like completely different things, I don't see it as different because as you know, Lillian, I've been teaching yoga for a really long time. I think it's like almost 30 years now. And yoga is like a path of discovery, self-discovery through the self. There's even a Bhagavad Gita quote like through the self to the self with a capital S, infinite. So it's really like about finding who you are, why you're here, your purpose. And the more tools we find, that's kind of the same reason I got into energy healing, right? Because then you can do that through a different modality.
Mhm.
So I'm also just kind of open to the umbrella of like, how do you do that? Why are we here? What is our purpose in life? How can we live this life consciously and to the best of our abilities, right? To thrive. And we know there's going to be ups and downs, and all the spiritual practices teach us how to navigate that. That's the beauty. So human design is something that when you give, you have to give your birthplace, your time of your birth, and your date. Your name is, I mean, we use it because we want to address you, but it's not really that important. And also
Okay.
geographically where you were born.
Okay.
And then when we plug that in into a system, it kind of gives you your human design. And human design is based on these modalities, the I Ching, Kabbalah,
Okay.
um, the I Ching Kabbalah, the chakra system, which I'm very familiar with from
Yes.
yoga. And I've been
Reiki.
teaching, yes,
Yes.
and Reiki, and I've been teaching chakras for so many years. It's one of my specialties. And
Yes.
the other thing is astrology. So it's kind of somewhat like those things, they
Okay.
cross each other, and it spits you like a chart of who you are. And my teacher, so the way I got into it is I have a podcast, as you know, it's called Life on Earth Podcast. And I interview different people. And I think we talked one day a little bit about that too, like how we love learning, right, through our
Yeah.
guests and everything.
Yes.
So I had Erin Claire Johns, who I had been following. We had some friends in common, and she's been brought into my radar. So I think it was like 2022, if I'm not mistaken. I interviewed her for the podcast, and she kind of explained to me and laid it down. And I fell in love with it. And she always says, take what you love and leave what you don't. And if something doesn't resonate with you, it's not a big deal. Like it doesn't mean that like everything in human design, what your chart says, it's going to be you. Perhaps
Yes.
it's you, perhaps, but that's like going, if you do astrology, you go to an astrology reading, it's the same, right? So people do have to be kind of a little bit open to that astrology type of thing and all that.
Yeah.
But then what I have found, what happened is after Erin, she launched her first teachers training program, and so I did it. I think it was the same year, like 6 months after, and then I did her second training, and now I'm in her community with mentorship. So I meet with her, like we meet like a couple times a month, the people who are in the community. I got certified at the beginning of this year. And it's great. What I found is through the charts that I've read, and a lot of it is just students who are in my school.
Yeah.
Um, it's very, it's very eerie. Like sometimes it's like so on point. There's so many things that it's actually like, wow, it can, so the person can learn about themselves and learn how to kind of navigate those tendencies that you have. It's not
Yes.
going to tell you your future, and it's not going to
No.
tell you, like, it's
Mm-mm.
not about that. It's
No.
not that kind of work. It's more like these are the things that you're inclined to, these
Yes.
are the things that like you have tendencies for. And how can we, now that you know this, use it as a tool to navigate this life? So why would a person go to a retreat? And I'm just put it all in a nutshell, because that's what I do now is I give an option to my teacher trainees when they sign in the school to pull up their chart right from the beginning.
Oh,
I'm
good.
giving it like kind of as a bonus since I have that. Why? Because they're about to embark on a 6 month, 1 year journey.
Yes.
That's what the school is. And really kind of find all these gifts, right? The eight limbs of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta philosophy, all these things. And then this is just one more thing. And here's your chart, and here's what your chart says. So right from the beginning, kind of gives the student that clarity. We do a lot of journaling through the training, and asana practice is very revealing, as you know, and breath work and
Yes.
all that. So it really helps. So in a retreat, the human design retreat, that was like the first thing that we did, like the first evening, first day, because then students got to really dig into their chart, get that information.
Yes.
And the whole retreat was sort of like the theme was like having a rebirth. So at the end, we ended it with a living funeral. It was like sort of your death, but after your death, there's who are you now? And so we gave the human designers like, this is your birth chart. Right. And then you work the retreat with the yoga and the pranayama and all the different modalities. And then you end with sort of this,
Death.
death. And then
Yeah.
you are like the phoenix rising, like, who are you now? So it was
Wow.
like, so that's really powerful, and people
That is
really kind of
really powerful.
resonated with it. And then having the journaling prompts, and we created like actually like journaling exercises all the days that they were there was really good. And lastly, I'll just say, I mean, I know this is not a human design podcast, but we have a manifesting generator, we have
Okay.
manifestors in human design, we have projectors and reflectors. And did I say generators?
Yes.
No, I have five. Okay. So generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors.
Okay.
Those are sort of the human design. But when you say human design, that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's like saying you're a Sagittarius or you're a Virgo. Okay, that's one piece that can be very good. And don't get me wrong, that's a great piece. But there's so much more in your chart. In reality, like I see clients online, for human design, like I have a 101 session, a 102, a 103. You can't look at everything. It's kind of
At the
like
first session.
no, you can't. It's just too
No.
much. We do the
So
basic foundation first thing. Then that's the way I do it. Then I go a little deeper in the second one. Then I go a
okay.
little deeper on the third one. It's a lot of
Well, I
information. For
love that.
one, we don't have time. For two, you're going to overwhelm the person.
Yeah, and they can
You want to go.
only you can only take in so much information about
I agree.
yourself before your ego comes in and says, "Okay, that's enough."
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I know you want to change and improve me, but like, let's start with the 52 things you just got.
Yeah. And isn't that the same even like when you do like with whether it's yoga or human design or whatever, it's like
Doesn't
there's
matter.
that's part of being right. You got
Yes,
a
I was
coach
just
or
on a
guide.
coaching call this morning. I said, okay, well, you have been given a lot of homework. So let's just do a recap. But like we're done. Our session is done. Like you have four major things to follow through with, right?
Yeah, a hundred
And
percent. Like if teachers start, I've been, like you, I love learning. So I go to these online workshops or in person, whatever. If people give me like too much, let's say the Bhagavad, whatever it is, right? I can all like, there's so much I get. And then after that, I sort of start zoning out. That's at least what
yes.
I do. Cause I'm like, okay,
Well,
I
what
don't
are
know.
you? Are you I can't remember what I
I'm a
am.
manifesting generator. And now after this,
I
I want you to send me your info because I'm going to send you a few like little things
Okay. Yeah.
in your
Cause I
chart.
can't remember. I feel like I'm a manifesting generator, but someone hasn't told me that in probably 3 years. So I have no idea
Yeah.
really. Okay. I would
Yeah.
love that. And then we can
Yeah.
share it and
Yes.
that'll
Yes.
be fun. Is it something that you want people to reach out for you and just like book the 3 sessions or just do one
Oh,
and then you're like,
definitely.
okay,
No, definitely. But I just say one. Like first, we just start with the first one.
see if they
Like,
like it.
yes.
Okay.
If you like it,
See if
and
they
even
like
when
it.
you get it, I suggest I don't even like rebook it immediate. I just suggest it's kind of like I think like, you do the energy healings too, like a one-time thing. Like if you then use that in your life, the information, see what resonates with you, what doesn't, start integrating it, digest it,
Yes.
take a time with it before you go too deep.
The next step.
It's too much to just go too fast. There's no
It
point.
is. And there's really
Yeah.
no rush, you know,
There's
because
no rush.
it's not do or die. And
My
it's going to tell you.
God.
Okay, so do you know
I'm
the
still learning things about my chart. Like yesterday, I was like digging in and I was like, whoa, I didn't even know these and these things. And only now they're making sense. And literally, it's like since 2022. Imagine that. So it takes a while.
Okay, so I just found, thanks to my friend Heather, another Heather. I have lots of Heathers in my life, but my friend Heather for my birthday gave me the North Node astrology book. Okay.
Okay. I've heard of it, but don't know about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I think all these people got together and wrote Human Design, North Node, Kundalini numerology. You know, they all got together in spirit and wrote all these things together
Oh,
because,
I like that.
you know, when you read all of it, you're like, how do they know me so well? This is
Yeah.
annoying. Like,
Yeah.
because
I know.
it does give you, and it's not the good and the bad, but I always say that. Like I say good and bad, but it's really not good and bad. It's not really a duality, but it's like you said, tendencies and things that we could change about ourselves that would make ourselves happier, more prosperous, more enlightened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
also grounds us because we get to look at our flaws and our
Mm-hmm.
issues and our weaknesses.
I know my teacher says it's like an operating manual of like your human life, like your human
I
blueprint,
like that.
not just like your operating manual. Like what are what are all these different energetics that you have and how do you
Mhm.
function here as in this incarnation as we know it?
Yeah. Okay. So if that retreat was a success, but I want to hear about the living funeral because I am also going through
Yeah.
a death journey right now.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it's so interesting because I think when we decided that you were going to be on the podcast, you mentioned something about the living funeral and sent me the retreat thing. I was like, oh, because I'm reading this, well, audio listening, I shouldn't say reading, this book by Sadhguru where it's all about death. And then,
Mm,
um, and I really resonate with, I think, death right now because I have a lot of aging parents. And, you know,
mhm.
because my parents
Me too.
are the baby boomers, right? And they are well into their 70s. And so it's kind of like looking down the barrel, like, oh my gosh, you know, I want my parents to live to be in the 90s, like my grandparents did, or one grandparent did, actually.
Mhm.
Only one did. But death really is looking at us every day. And I know we die every day, right? We
Yes.
die every day, but also looking at it if you're close to your parents or even if you're not, it's a reality.
It's a reality
It
and it's
is a
hard.
reality
For
and it is
me,
hard.
everybody has their own experience, but for me, it's been challenging to be witnessing what you're talking about with my parents that are close to me, and it's been challenging.
How old are your parents?
My mom is in her late 70s.
Same with mine. And what about your
Yeah.
dad?
My dad passed, but a
Okay.
few years back. But my stepfather, who raised me with my mom as well, is in, I think he's like in his early 80s. So they're together still. So they've been
Yeah.
married for like over 40 years. So
I have a
they're a
similar
thing.
story.
Yeah. And just but particularly I'm going to talk about my mother because I'm close to her, and but it's been challenging because it's like seeing somebody that I know so well but changing so much,
So quick.
and sometimes, like, she'll forget some things and some
Hmm.
conversations,
Hmm.
and I'm like, wait, what's happening here? Like, is this part of her character that's like changing and that I'm not recognizing? Because there's, of course, we have attachments of how this person should be and what we remember them as. And so all of this has made me confront what you're saying, my mortality, aging, what are the parts of the person that you start letting go of as you begin
Yes.
to be in your 70s and 80s, and how does that change the relationship with the family and your adult children? And I think that it's challenging because there's like we feel like there's like a dying before you die or a loss, of
He talks about
something.
that. He literally talks about that in the book, which has really helped me. And even he says the timeline, now, this is in their culture, right? Hindu. But they've pinpointed it down, Natalie, to 6 months that the person knows they're actually going to die before they die. 6 months.
Mm,
And he said, not everybody around them notices it, but they notice it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so when
Makes
my
sense.
parents, especially my mom, I'm going to speak with you, right? It's like I'm close to all my parents, but my mom and I are the ones that actually talk about death
Mm-hmm,
because we're not afraid of it. Whereas I can't
mm-hmm,
really talk about it with the other two because they want to live to be 100 and I don't want to squash that. I want them to live to be 100 too. But my mom and I
mm-hmm.
have more of a kind of morbid personality. Where
Maybe more maybe more realistic, actually.
we can just kind of joke around it because it's like facing down the barrel.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was so interesting to see like 6 months. It's like, huh, do they know that? I mean, they know it, but like, what are the signs? And,
Mm-hmm,
my mom's starting to forget stuff too, like your mom,
mm-hmm.
and then the wobbly part, like the
Exactly.
balance.
That too. And
Yeah.
then you're like, wow, it's challenging for us to see that too.
And are you seeing any social differences?
Oh yeah, for 100%. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
seeing social differences. I'm seeing differences of even like interaction towards me of what it was like 10 years ago or even 5 years ago.
Mhm.
So it's almost like, yeah, there's a big change. And I don't know, I don't know exactly what's going on, but if your brain starts changing, I would imagine you start processing things a little different. Maybe the
Mhm.
filters start being a little different. Who knows? I also
Mm.
wonder, like,
Yes, the
it,
filters.
well, and the other thing that crosses my mind is like as we age, right? In the Western world, at least, or I'm sure in many worlds, like there's so much medication too that sometimes people have to take for different reasons. I wonder how much of these medications also have an effect on cognition and brain function and mental health and everything. And so I think that it could be residues of things, almost like, nuances of things that changes and there's more is a little more foggy and less clear in the communication and the
Exactly.
interactions and the conversation. I think maybe a lot of people listening to this can relate in, if I'm like a total enlightened being, I'd be like, oh my God, hooray for everything and it's totally fine and it's just how it is. But as a person who's I'm very like a human, it's like, no, you have, it's like you confront your own emotions too, and sadness and pain and grief and
Yes.
whatever it is for misunderstandings or so yeah, I think it teaches us a lot too,
Yeah.
because
Death has been such a big teacher. And so in your living funeral, so do you write your own kind of obituary and have a
yeah.
ceremony and
So the living funeral, I'll tell you guys a little bit about it. So this is something I fell completely in love with as well. I also had been following her work, interviewed her for my podcast a couple of times, became friends with her. She's a death doula. Her name is Emily Cross. Funny enough, her last name is like
your name?
mine is Croix in French means cross in English. So
Y'all have the
yeah,
same name.
it's funny. And so she lives in England and she has been doing this beautiful, she's a death doula, but she parallel to that does this beautiful work of conducting these living funerals. And what it is like a person goes into the experience, and yes, you have. It's like the whole room. I'm actually going to do a post on my Instagram coming soon because I have these awesome pictures. We create like an altar for each person. We create like a place that's like mimicking a coffin, but it's not a coffin. But sometimes she actually had a situation in England that she had this like kind of fake coffins that people would lay down in. So, whoa. And
Wow.
then, we put like a shrine at some point in the ceremony on the person. So when people go, it's very much an individual experience, but we guide them to write your whole like obituary. and what are your last words and what you
Mhm.
want to leave. Once that's done, we kind of shift people into doing a seated meditation, and then we shift people into laying down. And that's when we cover them and we do a death meditation. Like many people have done I mean, many
Yeah.
spiritual practices like Buddhism and, many of them, but this is kind of her version of it. And it's shutting down the body. And eventually it's like your soul leaving the body, and it's very powerful. And then there's an aspect of music that integrates with it. I learned how to play
Mhm.
the harmonium for this, but you can do it with you can even do it with the singing bowls, which is beautiful too. And but live music in it brings like this whole element, because like you usually have music in a funeral or something. So anyways,
Yeah.
and then the whole process is about like anywhere from 2 hours to 3 hours. It depends. But when we kind of bring people back, right? And we have a process to do that too. It's like they're having like a second chance, like a rebirth. But what I'll tell you is it's one of the most profound experiences I've ever A, been through, and B, have seen people go through that. People are just like, some people are just like ball crying. They didn't even know that the stuff that were coming up and through were actually going to happen. But it was such a clearing process. That's what I hear from the feedback after. And when they leave that, they're like, I've seen people like come to do it and they were like looking really tired energetically and all that, and like at the end for some reason they leave there and their face looked like rejuvenated. But I'm not
Wow.
saying it's like not a sad thing. Is There's definitely a sad element to that, because you're
Oh,
like,
yes.
you're confronting your mortality. But
Yes.
when you realize, like, oh my God, if this was my last breath, what is it that I want to say? Who do I want to reach
Yes.
out to? What do I want to,
What do you want to
and then
do?
and you
Yeah.
realize, like, oh my God, why am I, but you're not actually dead. This is a simulation. And at the end, we do bring you back and you do have your life. And people are just like, oh my God, I just got like all this energy back. And like, I'm just feeling like another person. It's very powerful. I
Wow.
love it.
Okay, I'm going
Yeah.
to go ahead and ask you this because it's just coming in. You know how my intuition just
Uh,
comes on in, just
yeah.
traipses on. Oh my gosh, will you do this for a group of us for my
Oh,
50th
yes.
birthday?
That is
Oh,
perfect. That is perfect. I've done it. So that's one of the things we do is some people have chosen it to do it for birthdays, and that is
yes.
perfect. Now, I will say of course, Lillian would you're very brave. So, there
That's
are,
okay.
so yes,
I have
it's
some
a,
other people, brave souls I can recruit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a profound experience. And some people, they're like, I've come across this, right? Some people are just like even in this retreat, there was one person was like, no, I'm not,
Can't
I
do that. Yeah.
can't do it. And there's other people who have in situations, I'm
Yes.
not doing it. And we also have to respect that, it
Yeah.
is a,
But it could be an invite, like
yeah,
here, come to my birthday party. It's really a funeral. Come to, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, think about it.
you're
Next
so
year, I would
funny.
have made it 50 years and I want to do another 50. I
Yes.
do. And I don't work this hard not to make it another 50 healthy, you know?
Yeah.
If not, I
Yeah.
really think I probably could have died. And why this touches my soul so much is I really think I could have died 10 years ago easily. I was just covered with heavy metals. I was a 20-year smoker. I had viruses out the yin yang. I had parasites out the yin yang. It was just like, my heavy metal load was enough to scare anybody off the charts. And I was just like,
Mhm.
if I hadn't done that preventative stuff 10 years ago, I probably would have major, major problems now, tumors or cancer or whatever. And I just, looking back, we just need to really dig in. And that's what I love
Mhm.
about what you're doing in this world. Like you started with yoga and bringing people on a spiritual practice and bringing people on a life purpose journey. But now you're going into human design. And then you're also teaching them about death, which is what we need to learn because I'm about to be 50. Like
Mhm.
I need to know as much about it as I can.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. But it's like, we practice so many things in life. isn't it interesting? Why wouldn't we practice death, like a death meditation or a simulation? And I understand that some people, don't want to do it, and I respect that. But again, I would say it's going to happen to all of us. I mean, I haven't met a human yet that have not will never die or has not ever died. I mean, it hasn't happened as far as I know. So it's like maybe there is one, but it's like we practice so many things. So why not practice that? And I think that's the philosophy behind like Buddhism, death meditations, and there's some in yoga too and stuff. So it's just like how would to me is that question, how would it feel when you are in a position that perhaps that could be your last breath, and how does that transition is, and isn't shavasana, I know you teach yoga too, shavasana, right? The translation, like corpse pose, it's kind of that too. Yes, it's a
It does
relaxation,
feel like
it's
that.
a letting go, it's all of that. But
Hmm.
in many traditions, shavasana has also been correlated to, that's why they translate it as death, corpse pose. How would it be if this is like your yoga practice, like the beginning, and then you go through the whole sequence, and it's like at the very end, it's that sort of complete letting go and surrendering, like your final practicing your final breath, right? And then it's like the teacher brings you up, and it's like a rebirth.
And you just don't want
Namaste.
to ever come up when it's like wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers and turn on your
Yeah,
side. I'm like, no, I like corpse
yeah,
pose. I could stay
I
here for
know.
another 20 minutes and receive downloads and let go because, at that point you feel like such a peaceful human being.
I
You're just like,
know.
oh, if I could only be this calm and this forgiving and this loving all day long. I mean, how
Yes,
peaceful would the world be, right? We all need to
it's
be in
it's
corpse
beautiful.
pose.
It's beautiful. And I've heard of some death doulas like going into say like homes, like elder people's homes and stuff, and like just practicing with them like things like techniques like yoga nidra,
Mm.
or some guided meditation, even laying down, or when they're going through the photos of the memories and doing it like as a meditation letting go practice. And to do that with people who are at that age and just really kind of perhaps going to leave their body temple sometime soon, it's such a beautiful work too. It's
Mm.
like, ah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I need to do this in my life. And in the book, it's called Death for Only Those That Shall Die, which is
I
funny
want to
that you
read
said
it.
that because like that's literally what he means, right? We're all going to die, and at least, unless we haven't met the guru on top of the mountain that is 250 years old, but I haven't met that
Yeah,
person yet.
not yet.
But,
Yeah.
he talks about how it actually, in their religion and their practice, it takes the soul 14 days to leave the body. And the Westerners, us, we cremate right away or we embalm right away because we're just fast paced movers. And he
Quick
said,
people. Yeah.
yeah, and they take the body and they put it outside in nature, covered with a white sheet, and they let the soul slowly leave. And it is different because I have helped some people through death, and I actually really enjoy it, which is strangely odd, but I do find it super peaceful and very emotional. I don't know if you
Yeah,
felt
and
that
it's a
way.
privilege. It's a
It is.
privilege to
It's
to
a
be with
privilege.
someone when they are, about to make their transition.
Yeah. And you can feel that their spirit is separated from the body, because I'll
Hmm.
have clients call me and their spirit is kind of hovering, should I say, like a word,
Hmm.
like hovering. And it kind of was like how you described the living funeral, like you're asking the soul to leave, it's about to be reborn, and then in our
Hmm.
case you're still living, so the soul comes back in, right? And in
Hmm.
their case, their soul goes on, and then, we're just left with the body in the human realm. And it's
I
so,
know.
I don't know, it's so moving.
It's so moving. And the other thing makes me think of when you say that's like all the NDEs too, right? The near death experiences that we've
Oh, yeah.
watched people's videos talk
Mhm.
about, or there's so many
Mhm.
people who write about it. And so many people, you were talking about the hovering, and I've heard so many people that, I mean, I don't know if I mean, to me it sounded very credible. And I have a great friend that happened to her too. And it's like, that they've hovered, they've seen, and then they were asked some of them were asked the questions, you want to come back, or do you want to not? And some of them said,
Yes.
yes, I do want to come back. And then they come, like, literally have an experience of coming back into their bodies. And it's like,
Yes.
whoa, like, that's also very, like, interesting.
Yeah, we have so
Yeah.
much to learn about that part of it, and the
Yeah.
ceremonies around it. Do you burn in your living funerals? Do you burn or have like some Epsom salt burning, or do you do any kind of
Hmm.
candles or,
Yeah, we light candles, and
yeah,
then we do we I ask people if there's like, if people are not allergic in the room, then I will burn like a usually like a Japanese incense, something really soft, and
right.
sometimes I do a little bit of sage at the end too, if
Oh,
people are okay with that.
oh,
And
that's so
even
nice
like,
of you.
yeah.
I always forget to ask. I'm like, light it up.
And you know what else I love at the end, because I feel like it really clears the energy to do a like a spray water with water and a little bit of like lavender, or some essential oils, and
Hmm.
just kind of spray around the auric field of
Hmm.
each person, like at the end, because water itself, right, and
Is
essential oils too, but
cleansing.
it just kind
Yeah.
of brings you back. Yeah.
It does. Yeah. And that's why I love my little sprays. I just kind of spray.
Yes.
And then, like you said, no one's really allergic to it, but it's not a smoke fest.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to definitely have you back after my living
Thank you.
funeral with that. And then, so tell
Yeah.
us as we
Maybe
end,
I'll interview you for your podcast about your
Yeah,
experience with the
with
living
you.
funeral. That will be
Perfect.
great. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us if your yoga school about your yoga school, like how can people join? Because
Hmm.
if people are really looking for, a new path, a journey, but they can't show up at 1 week in a month for 6 months,
Right.
or they don't have they want to do it online or hybrid, like you said. Tell us a little bit about your yoga school and how can they
Hmm.
be a part of it?
Yes, thank you for asking. So, I do have some hybrid situations that would be, and you guys can look it up when I'll give you the website, but in partnership with some studios. Some of them are intensive or just weekends here and there. But if you don't want to do that, and you're in a time in your life that you want to do something self-paced, now we have that option as well. So the website is shantiyogatrainingschool.com. And you could also go to lifeonearthpodcast.com. We have a lot of the online course. I'd say the Shanti podcast has a lot of like the background testimonials explaining what it is, a lot of write ups, blogs, and things like that. And then the other one is where you actually see the courses, and you'll see like the 200-hour, the 300-hour. We have a Yoga Nidra certification course. We're a Yoga Alliance school. We have a sound bath course, we have a chakras course, I have like different online courses, and you could literally just like sign up for it. People ask me how long does it take. It's totally up to the person. Like, I
Okay.
don't know if like you have children, you have a schedule, or if you're like completely gonna dive in however many hours a day. But
Yeah.
I will say it would go be like, I would recommend anywhere from, I would say, if you're kind of really intense through all the content, about 2 to 3 months, probably more like close to 3 months. But then the normal sort of, what I also recommend, if you want to just kind of do a little module digest, to a little people will take like 6 months to a year. Some
Okay.
people really love it, and they're like, wow, I'm in it and I'm slowing down, because I kind of like, and we'll do live streams for support, and I say, look, let's say hypothetically you did the yoga philosophy chapter or whatever it is, like the yamas, right, and the niyamas, and then I say, just stay with it, see how that shows up in your life, journal about it, do your yoga practice, see how it is on the mat, whatever, right, or teach it if you're already doing. And so stay with it a week, 2 weeks, whenever you feel ready and you integrate, go to the next module. So I love online learning. I'll tell
I
you,
do
like,
too.
I did my human design online, and I did it all online. It wasn't even a hybrid. And
Hmm.
I'm very thankful that that happened like that, because 2022, I had a lot of different things in my life. And one of it is like, I'll be honest, like sometimes, my nervous system, I just can't be like in person. I'll even like can't go too much
Yeah.
for like workshops and this and that. And then to the vet, I don't have kids, but like the vet and then the horse thing and
Well,
this.
you have
So
8 fluffy
I
kids
have a bunch of
or
animals.
10.
Yeah. Yeah. And
How many?
sometimes I have more than that. Yeah. So because I have a lot of chickens, y'all. That's the thing. And we got 2 horses. So, anyways, but sometimes I'm the kind, everybody's different, but I'm the kind of person that sometimes I'm like, don't want to be. It depends on the time of the year, depends on the year. If I don't want to be like in person, a lot of places, like my nervous system's just asking me to kind of quiet down a
I
little,
love
but I
that.
still want to learn and I love it. So I come to like this room and I shut down and I'm super present and I do the modules and I do the live streams. I love online learning. I know it's not for everybody, but it exists. So yeah,
Well, especially if you get to learn
thank
in
you.
a fun pink room with white fluffy pillows. I love that.
Yeah, and you can learn. You have your room too,
I got
and
my room.
it's
My room
good.
has to be, everything has to be, everything
Yeah.
like it just, I don't know. If you have a room, that would be one of the things that I used to teach all the time. I would say, even if you're married or with somebody or you have a bunch of kids, you need a corner and then you need to graduate to like a half a room. And then you graduate to the full room as the first kid leaves or the second kid leaves. Or if you don't have kids, but you have too much stuff, it's like it's time to declutter. But it has to
Hmm.
start with a corner and then a half and then a whole. You need your
That's a
whole room.
Yes, that's great advice. But I love how you show, okay, you can also do this and this. It's so important.
It
And
really is.
online learning is great because you do it at your own pace. Sometimes, people need that. So it's good that there's everything for everyone. And now, we're in 2025 and that's how the world is evolving. And people who don't like that, they can still do in-person stuff. That's everything is just an option. So yeah, and my
Okay.
Instagram is at Natalie Croix with it's NATHALIE CROIX, and anybody's welcome to message me, ask questions, whatever. And if I can help, I will. And I know you're in great hands with Lillian as well, because you do an amazing job with everything you do. So
Oh, so do you. Thank you. Well, we love what we do. So that has to be at the core of it, right? And
yes,
from energy healing to all the new stuff we're learning and doing. And so we wish you the best. Y'all reach out to Natalie. She is
thank
got
you.
a ton of podcasts. Anything you could probably want to know or has she interviewed, it's on her podcast. And
Thank
you
you.
might be the next Joe Rogan, except in Natalie
Ah,
form.
except that I don't put near as much content out as he do, so that won't happen. And you guys can find Lillian on Life on Earth podcast as well because I've interviewed you. Maybe I'll send you the link and you can add it on
Oh,
your
that's a good
for
idea.
your interview because that was a good one.
Yeah, we did Shen So Su, which is back in our energy healing days.
Yeah.
Yeah, of doing that. So I'm glad we've graduated a little bit from that. That's fun because I was definitely doing a lot of energy healing. My body was like, can you take a break, please? You are working too much. And I'm just going to show you by causing you a lot of pain because you're not listening.
You really did. Like I remember that. You really did. You dove all in. Like
Yeah, but
that's what you do.
you do that too. And we all
Yes.
do that when
Yes.
we want to serve others. And then you have to kind of realize, like, oh, wait, I got to step back. And we got to, because we do have a human body that is literally an energetic body. So it teaches us and gives us messages. So that's why I wanted to have Natalie on because she works all through this stuff with yoga. And even though I teach, I do not teach as much as you. I do not have a yoga school. So please follow Natalie and then I'll do some kundalini on the side for y'all. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Okay, Satnam.